It's the weekend, which means it is time to lock and load with another all-star entrepreneur. And this week, we're staying right here in Tampa, Florida. And you better buckle up because we have a great show ahead. Vincent A. Lancy here, and I'm ready to bring on Sheff as we talk from the Mamba Sports Academy to the grind of earning a spot in the NFL to now life after football. This entrepreneur is going to bring the value we're looking for. Sheff, it's great to see you, and thank you for coming on podcast number 2 with me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm excited. First one was great. And the what you're giving to people is something that we need, right? We need to get out of the rat race. We need to figure out what we want in our lives, and we want to be able to achieve all of that. So this is awesome.
Yeah, thank you for the kind words. And I forget who said it. It was either Elon or one of these that said we have enough financial experts, enough doctors, but we don't have enough creators. And right now, what you're doing is really impressive. You're using that value and knowledge you've gained all the way through your life to where you are now. Everyone, be sure to scroll down in the episode description to check out his journey on a mental health break, where he talks about a whole nother side of him that is sure to inspire you. But if it is your first time joining us, I would like to welcome everyone to That Entrepreneur Show. This is the official podcast for individuals looking to grow and achieve success. Each week since 2019, I've had the opportunity to bring on a top performing founder from all around the globe to help you on your journey, and you never know which story will resonate with you most. So be sure to head down to the show description after this to check out each episode. But I am excited to kick this show off. We have a lot going on. He is joining us today as the founder of Sheff's Cooking, where he helps people find inner success, something we were just chopping it up about behind the scenes. And a little more about him before we bring him on. He is an exuberant, competitive leader that amplifies the mindset of a winning attitude towards people around him. He is an open-minded thinker that is willing to dissect plans and strategies that will improve the performance of himself, others, and corporate objectives. As a former professional athlete, he has been able to translate the ability to apply strong communication skills to lead a team toward a common goal, grow and win. And I love this about him. He's obsessed with continuous improvement of his craft. On the mental health break, we talked about all the books he's been reading and how he's constantly looking to better himself. But I am about ready to kick this off. We have Sterling Sheffield here. And be sure to stick around to the end for this week's Spotlight story, as we're going to dive into an awesome article titled 7 Entrepreneurial Skills Learned from Sports. But before then, it's all things Sheff. Sheff, why did you become an entrepreneur after football? Let's talk about this journey.
Wow. Yeah. So just to give you like a good idea about like a recap of what led up to it. First things first, COVID happened, right? So I was playing in the Canadian Football League, and there was kind of like a mist of, are we going to have a season? Are we not going to have a season 2020? We ended up not having a season. So my entire life has always been dictated off of what other people want from me, and where, like, for example, when I was at Maine, I really didn't. I mean, I kind of had a choice, but not really had a choice to go where I wanted to go to college. I'm blessed that I ended up going to Maine, which was great. But I went from Jersey to Maine, then from Maine to California, then from California to Cincinnati for the Bengals, and then from Cincinnati up to Calgary, Alberta, right, for the CFL. Then I ended up going back down to Jersey after when COVID happened. Right. Well, actually, I went to Maine, and then I went back to Jersey when COVID happened. So, and this was all in a span of like a year and a half, 2 years. So a lot of moving, but it wasn't any, except for California. There was none of the places that I ended up going to was places that I wanted to be at. So I wanted to put things in my own hands. After COVID, well, during COVID, I ended up finding a job, right, which was in sales, right. And real quick, this is like a side note. A lot of people don't understand the importance of sales. Sales is everything. Sales is you see it every single day. You wake up, what if you're on a laptop, that was sold to you. If you're on your phone, that was sold to you, right? If you are an entrepreneur and you are not and you say to yourself that you're not good at sales, then you're climbing up a big hill, right? You need to be able to understand the importance of sales and how that's able to help grow your business and scale your business, right? You got to be able to market yourself, network yourself, because your net worth is your network, right? So, during when that happened, I ended up finding a job in sales, right? And I did really well. My first year there, I sold over $1 million of products. And then I ended up moving down here to Tampa from Philadelphia, and I was working. I was doing everything that I needed to do in order to be successful. The one thing is that I was not in a position where I'm able to control my life, right? Everybody else is dictating my life, right? You see people in a rat race, 9 to 5 rat race all the time, where their time is dictated by somebody else, and whatever time they bring in pays somebody else's paycheck. So at my mindset, I'm like, no, I want to be able to go ahead and make money and make connections and gain relationships with people that will help benefit my life and my trajectory of where I want to go to. So that's when so last year, that's when I figured out, okay, what's the best way to go about this? So I ended up opening up Top Chef Performance, right? And Top Chef Performance is I'm a personal trainer. I got my training certificate. I got my license. I got my CPR license. I got ISSA. I got everything that I needed to do in order to launch this, right? Found different clients. I was able to grow to 25 clients in an abundance of 2 months, right? And that all comes down to understanding your worth, right? Talking to people, selling your idea to people for them to bring in, whether that's offering free classes, discounted classes, but all offering value, because everything comes down to how much value you're able to give to somebody else. Value proposition is extremely huge, right? So I was able to do that, and now I've been able to grow. Like for example, today I actually in a couple hours I'm hosting a birthday party for 15, 16, 12 year olds that want to have a workout
That's amazing.
for the birthday party. So we all have limiting beliefs. We need to be able to get outside of our limited beliefs and break through our glass ceiling. So and so you have to be able to be flexible. So that's what I'm doing now. And on top of that, I actually uh, just got my life insurance license. And life
Congratulations.
insurance license. Thank you. I appreciate it. Where now I'll be able to have two companies, one company for Top Chef Performance, and now I'll be able to own my own entity, in a life with a life insurance company, with that where I'm able to have my own business and create my own create my own other streams of income, because the more diversified your income is, the more money, the more passive income you can be able to make. So health and wealth, that's really all it comes down to, right?
I
I know,
love it.
so that's why I'm doing personal training. That's why I want to get into the financial services aspect of it. So I'll be able to give people the most amount of value as possible with health and wealth.
I'm typing up a ton of notes here for when this goes live. You're touching on so many points. Breaking through our own limited beliefs. That is huge. We all have that itty bitty committee inside our head. We have to find a way to break through that. Sales skills, excuse me, value offered. They are everything. Multiple streams of income you're touching on, extending the brand. I love it. Keep up the great work. I started my finance. I was a finance major at one point. I started at Northwestern Mutual, and the experience you get selling insurance is invaluable. The how you take no's. You're talking to people about something they don't think they need, that they don't want to pay for, and then all of a sudden you have to explain to them why it is so vital and why starting younger is the best. There's just so many skills to learn from being in that industry. So I wish you all the success on that. I look forward to hearing how it's going. We've touched a bit on Chef's Cooking. Now you're extending from just personal training to birthday parties. I think everyone out there, that is a great piece of advice, where don't limit yourself in your brand. You don't have to only stick to one form of product, one form of service. Now he's extending himself, but you've been on your own a little bit now. You've tried a few things. What are some of the more challenging areas of entrepreneurship for you, Sheff?
Um, that's a great question. The most challenging thing, honestly, is to eliminate the negative voices from your peers around you, right? That limited thoughts and that limited belief that people have, they can. I talked about the glass ceiling. They want to keep you in that box, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have, like, for example, Elon Musk, right? Love Elon Musk, right? If you were to tell if you were a person and you were to tell the average citizen, hey, look, I want to go to Mars. I want to go to the moon. I'm going to create a company that's going to allow me to go to Mars. People will look at you like you have five heads, right?
Hmm.
But that's the thing. He didn't let everybody else dictate where he wants to be at, where he wants to go, where his dream is, right? So the challenging thing is, like I said, not to let other people dictate where you want to go. If you have goals, if you have dreams, if you have aspirations, and you know, and you write it down and you look at it every single day, which is very important to make sure that you say either say your goals out loud or you read your goals, right? Every single day, so you don't waver, right? And if you do that, then you're going to be as successful as you want to be. Success is our duty, and average is the enemy, right? I learned this from Bedros Koulian, right? And because, like, for example, I'm 26 years old. My goals that I wrote down, I have a list of 20 goals right here. I want to have $5 million in the next 5 years. I want to have 10% body fat. I want to have five different investment properties. I want to have a Lambo, right? Don't limit yourself in your dreams and where you want to go to, right? If and on top of that, I also want to give back to the church, right? I want to give back $100,000 to the church. I want to pay for my sister's tuition. I want to give my dad a Corvette, like his dream car, right? These are all things that I have in my head that I want to be able to achieve, but it all comes down to the amount of certainty that you have. I'm reading this book right now, by Jordan Belfort,
I
Way
have
of the
not read that book.
great books talking about straight line selling. But before I got on here, he was talking about state management, right? And understanding the state and where you want to be at. He calls it the four C's, right? How to trigger your state management. You need to have certainty, you need to have clarity, you need to have confidence, and you need to have courage, right? And all of those are all internal aspects that you have that you have on a daily basis. That if you let other people dictate that, you do it, and it comes down to how much work you want to put in, right?
Mhm.
Amount of work you put in is what's going to be reciprocated back into your life. If you're lazy and you're playing video games for 10 hours of the day and you're eating junk food, you're not keeping up with your physical health, you're not keeping up with your mental health, right? You're just wasting time, and we're only on this planet once,
Yeah.
right? So, like, if you're on this planet once and you have goals, dreams, as big dreams, right? Don't limit your dreams, big dreams and aspirations. Like, get off of Xbox, get off of PlayStation, get off of those Twinkies, get off of the couch, go work out. So because you can work out and listen to somebody like Bedros Koulian, right? Listen to somebody like Grant Cardone who talks about 10xing everything, right? Don't like you need to make sure that everything in your life is on tech. Your home space is organized, your car is organized. If that's good, then if that's all organized, then you're decluttering your mind, right? You have an organized brain.
Mhm.
You eat clean foods, right? You drink a protein shake in the morning. You have nice little pre-workout, right? You get your entire day starts the night before. So I know I laid a lot of stuff out there, but
I mean, you're not wrong about any of it. I mean, for me, I write down the three most important things I need to do when I wake up. I time block my day before I go to bed. The car is something over the last year and a half I was more mindful about it. If I'm eating on the road, I don't just throw it on the ground. I pull over, I find the garbage. I don't make the mess in the car. Little things. And like you said, you can't let anybody else dictate what you're destined to be. You're in charge of that mindset. And another thing we were talking about before the show is just being mindful of who we hang out with, what we consume, all of these things. I mentioned on the last episode, the last podcast with him, he, like me, loves to read. I always try to improve myself. And you put it great. People will put 3-4 years of their lives into one book that you can read in a few weeks. And all that information you're gaining can only elevate you. I used to have a problem where I'd read the books and not apply things when I was younger. Now I take my books, I use like a highlighter, I'm underlining them. That's just the way I learn because I'm a career student. And I go back and do it. I mean, I just finally finished up another Gary V book, and a lot of things just I weren't doing. For example, things that are coming from me, a blog, where in that blog, I can reference other things I'm doing, talk about different topics, create 50 topics before the blog, before you start the merch line, all of these things, even brand ambassadors. I've created a huge network on this podcast, and I never really tapped into being a brand ambassador for any of these people, leaving money on the table everywhere I go. But now I'm being more mindful of my potential and not trying to limit myself. And I agree. Get off that couch. As someone who loves TV shows in his downtime, there's a time and place for everything. I think with working out, you feel good, you perform good, you look good. For me, the gym is more about my mental health than it is my physical health. Of course, physical health benefits are obvious, but if I don't get some kind of exercise, if it's not even a walk, anything, my mind is everywhere. I'm not thinking clearly. I'm overstressing, you name it. I'm a little abnormal in the fact that I go to the gym at 3 or 4 in the morning every day, but I make sure I get it in because that's when I need to start my day, Sheff. I know you're an active in the gym, obviously.
So yeah, 100%. And I'm glad that you brought it up. And everybody that's listening to this, like, make sure that you understand this. The best people, the most successful people, are the ones that are able to wake up in the morning, man. Like, if I can't stress this, I can't stress this anymore. Like, I wake up anywhere from 4:30 to 5 a.m. every single morning, right? Unless I'm staying out late for like because I work security, unless that because I only get home to like 3:30, right?
Right.
Other than those days, I'm up 5 a.m., 4:30, 5 a.m., right? And like the reason why it's so important, man, is that so Kobe Bryant said it best, right? Mama mentality, right? His whole thing was consistent work, right? You can have periods of work, but consistent work is going to always be king. You need to understand that if on average, people usually wake up 8 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock, right? Maybe 7:30 if they have to get to work to at 8 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you think about it, if you wake up at 5 a.m., you have 2 hours you have 2 more hours than they actually had. And over a course of time, those 2 hours, right? Over the course of a week, that's an extra 14 hours you have. Now, whether you obviously it depends on what you're doing with it.
Right.
If you're on your phone watching TikToks, like that's not beneficial. But if you wake up, you have your morning routine, you brush your teeth, you take a shower, you meditate, you read for 30 minutes, then you go ahead and you work out, right? You are a lot more successful than you are than somebody else. When I played football, we would have meetings at 5:15 in the morning, right? I would have to be up at 4:15, right? And I would wake up 4:15, go straight to the training room, and go in an ice bath, right? So my muscles are awake, my mind is awake, right? Anytime you do a cold plunge, right? I don't know if you know Andrew Huberman, right? He says take cold showers in the morning, right? Like, and everybody likes cheat codes, right? The cheat code to life is waking up in the morning and getting stuff done, right? Like you need to understand that the difference between an ordinary person and an extraordinary person is the extra amount of time and effort that they put into their lives.
Mm-hmm.
If you aren't willing to put in the extra as an entrepreneur, especially, then you're not going to see the success. Your fruits of your labor is not going to be what you want, right? Your success, like I said, success is your duty. Don't be ordinary. Don't be average, right? You're only going to hurt yourself in the long run, and you're going to look back at yourself 5 years from now, and you're going to be saying, "Man, I wish. Man, what if?" As opposed to, "I did it, and I overcame, and I succeeded."
You're 100% right. And I look at the same way with that Mamba mentality, consistency. I still think I wish I hit certain pinnacles, but there's a reason that I haven't. And it's all learning lessons. As a solopreneur in the beginning, I've just had to literally do everything. But those times I put in, all those hours I put in, there eventually I'm very confident will completely pay off. Because I mean, even if we look at the podcast, the branding now, we're over 3 years of weekly shows, doing this all on my own, from networking, prepping the guests, recording, uploading, editing, you name it. That's just one piece of the business. All these things, I know over time, the consistency will pay off. And just like you said, what success are you setting yourself up for if you wake up at 7:30 and you have to be at work at 8? How are you letting your mind wake up? Everything. I think the worst thing, and this is from, I forget, so I can't give credit to the person. People who say they're not a morning person are already setting themselves up for failure. Why would you even tell yourself you're not a morning person? Why would you even do that to yourself? Because it's the morning and now you got to start. You're already setting yourself up from -5 instead of starting yourself at 0, starting yourself at 10, 15, 20, you name it. Everyone's got morning routines. Chef's got one. I've got one. And to me, the morning routine is everything. And I challenge everyone out there to form some form of morning routine, because for me, it has made all the difference. As you know, we've had a lights out episode so far, but before we figure out which entrepreneur throughout history Sheff would sit down to, we're going to hop into this week's spotlight story, and you can follow along in the show description, everyone. And this spotlight story is going to be a good one because he can provide direct value from his experience in high school sports, college sports, professional sports, all the way up into entrepreneurship. And here we go. Elite athletes from various sports are known to push their minds and bodies to the limit. Although not everyone can be an athlete, these sports figures possess skills that can be applied in every field, most especially business. If you are a budding entrepreneur or a person mainly looking for inspiration to develop a new product, here are 7 skills that are mostly used in sports that can help you with your business. I'll read off all 7, then dive into a few before bringing Sheff back on. Passion is more important than ability. Stay focused and determined. Use competition to find success. Learn from winning and losing. Communication is always key. Avoid making comparisons and making the most out of opportunities. Right here, avoid making comparisons is huge. Do never compare your page in your book to someone else's page in your book. You could be a bootstrapping entrepreneur like me, and you can be looking at someone else who's a privilegedpreneur who's been just handed all the resources, products, services, and facilities they need. You can't compare your journey right to them because you started off at a different place. That's not fair to yourself. You're setting yourself back. Striving to be the best is great, but always avoid comparing yourself to others. This isn't only helpful for your mental health, but it distracts you from working on the goals you actually want to achieve, and I couldn't agree more. It also touched on communication is always key. My relationships in business and some illustrators that I've worked with, this was the main issue. Communication was never there. I was always ready, looking for the work. I'm blowing up people's emails accounts, and then all of a sudden, I feel like we're wasting both of our times at this point. Famous entrepreneurs and sports athletes do share many traits. This is one of them. Which communication is also one of the most important entrepreneurial competencies. Having the ability to communicate with peers and colleagues is a key skill that helps you get to where you want to be. It also helps forge relationships with others, not just personal relationships, but also professional relationships, which is beneficial for networking. Pretty much how I get most of my guests on this show is networking. That could start out cold. And the last one I'm going to touch on before I bring back him on is passion is more important than ability. I resonate with this so much because I thought my whole life I wanted that corner office with the finance title and the money until I got it. And I realized with the most money I've ever had, I was as unhappy as I ever was. And every person out there has potential, but our times that potential is never met, resulting in talent and skill being put to waste. And I'm going to give the Bronx Tale a shout out. Saddest thing in life is a wasted talent. This is true for athletes, oftentimes relying on the ability alone and failing to put in the work to find, again, consistent success, which we spoke about all show. There is a reason why a select few athletes, and in this case, entrepreneurs, are able to separate themselves from the pack and become more successful than their peers. Passion. We touched on Elon Musk before. I mean, that's a perfect example of that. Sheff, what are some of your takeaways from this article, especially being an athlete yourself?
Yeah, this is huge, man. This is extremely huge. First things first, you need to be focused, right? Self-discipline is very important for an entrepreneur, right? You need to understand, okay, I know my friends are going out, getting drinks, just leisurely spending, wasting their time, right? You need to understand when's a good time to go out, and when's a bad time to go out.
Yes.
Right? And understand that anytime you go out, you can't just go out you can go out to have fun, but you can't just go out just for that soul aspect. You need to go out with intention. Everything that you do when you go out, if you go to a bar, that needs to be intentional. You need to understand, okay, I'm gonna go out here to this bar, right? I'm going with my friends, right? Instead of you spending time and trying to, as a male, spending time and trying to find girls, right? Go out, meet the manager of the establishment, meet the owner of the establishment, right? Meet some of the bartenders. Maybe they might know somebody, right? You talk to them, right? Then over time, you go to the same bar, right? They might recommend you to somebody, but they might know somebody. Because think about it, right? There, especially if you go to like, well, first off, you need to go to a bar. If you want to go to a bar, don't go to no sleazy bar. Go to a high, like a high-end bar, right? Go to the Edition, go to someplace like that, right? Like there, you need to make sure that you are putting yourself in places of success, right? And real quick, learning from winning and losing, right?
Mm-hmm.
There, at the end of the day, there's winners and there's losers. And the people who are average are the people who are losers. You need to win in every aspect of your life.
There are learning lessons to be found everywhere. I used to look at them as, quote, failures, but every time I lose or something doesn't go right, I tweak it a little bit and I apply that to the next situation. Made great points there. For me, going out and resulting in a hangover sets me back way too far. Every day, well, besides my mental health day, I've got so much to do. And how do I justify a hangover? Again, there is a time and place for me. I've sacrificed a big part of my social life, and by social life, I mean nightlife, for the greater good of my future. I've been ridiculed for that, laughed at. But you know what? I'm building my definition of success for what I want in life. And I'll piggyback off what you said. How many people do you know who have no problem spending $200, $300 at the bar, but won't spend $200 on a course for themselves to improve? Won't spend, you just got another license, for example, putting the time into study. You can look at real estate, insurance, investments, you name it. For me, I just did a DEI course for diversity and inclusion. Six Sigma course. And these aren't anybody else telling me to do these courses. These are things I want to do to prove myself. And I'll shout out Carlos Garcia on here. At the event we had in Tampa, would you recommend someone who has a terrible personality? They might have a great product, but you can't stand even talking to them for 5 minutes. If someone you hear, are you going to recommend them? No, you're not going to put your name on that because there's no love there and there's no passion behind that. You've knocked it out of the park, Sheff. Before I let you go, I know you know a lot of folks. Someone you have not met, which entrepreneur throughout history, dead or alive, would you choose to sit down with and pick their brain?
Bro, Grant Cardone, man. Like Grant Cardone, he is somebody that I just want to be around my entire life, right?
Yep.
And he gets a lot of slack because, like he's very boisterous, right? And he says his opinion on things all the time, and he doesn't hold back, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people don't like that, right? But I played football, right? I've been dealing with coaches like that who don't hold back all the time. Grant Cardone and the mindset that he has and where he came from, he was 25 years old and he was a drug addict, bro. He was my age, and at my age, he was a drug addict. Then he turned into not only somebody who owns businesses, who went into real estate, but also his real estate is worth over $4.5 billion, man. And the reason why is because he understood his worth and the value that he's able to bring, and he brought tenacity, and he won in every single aspect of his life, right? He went from losing in every aspect to winning. And that's the biggest thing, man. His thing is 10x. No matter where you're at, anytime you look up Grant Cardone, you are going to see 10x. And he branded that for a reason, because it all goes back to what we were talking about earlier. You need to understand where you're at now and where you want to be at. Mm-hmm. And where you want to be at, instead of you saying, and I was talking to somebody else, he's 21, 22 years old. He's a great guy. His goal by the time he's 30 is to have $100,000. Bro, if your goal is to have $100,000 and you have 9 years to acquire that, all you need to do is just raise $10,000 a year, right? Shoot for $1 million. Shoot right. For 10 million, 10 times the amount of your own expectations, because you're only limited to what you believe in, man. You're only limited to what you believe in. If you believe that your worth is $10 million, then you're going to do everything in your life, change the habits that you have, do the extra work you're going to have, network with the right amount of people that you're going to be with in order for you to get to $10 million. Now, you need to understand, and this is what Grant Cardone talked about, what he would do. He would go to a random coffee shop and just talk to the people there, right? And I brought that into my life. I'm like, okay, cool. The only reason why I'm doing security right now, and I might end up going to the security at the Edition, but whatever. The only reason why I did security is just because First off, I'm going to get paid just paid to be out and see how people interact and everything when they're drunk. But most importantly, I'm going to get paid to go network and meet with different people.
Yes.
Bro, I met with so many people when I've been doing security, bro. Since I've been doing that, so many things have came into my life that I was not expecting. But the reason why, and I'll keep this short. The reason why we're so limited to our beliefs and where we want to be at is because we have a victim mindset, and we end up being a product of our own environment as opposed to taking it into our own hands and dealing with stuff the way that we want to be able to deal with it, right? If something bad happens in your life, and I was listening to a YouTube channel. If something bad happens to your life, unfortunately, just to keep it 100% honest, the only people that care about that stuff is you. And so you're going to be set back a week, 2 weeks, a month. If you have a bad breakup, it's going to be a few months, right? And you're going to be suffering, right? Everybody else is still working their own lives, living their own lives. Yeah. Don't be a victim, be a winner, man.
Everybody battles through adversity, and there will always be more adversity. There will always be more unchanging circumstances, whether it's COVID, a bad breakup, you name it. There's always going to be something, but what separates the winners and losers, like you said, is that ability to keep that mindset. Something you touched on is the aspects of life. This is something where it was brought up on a show probably a year or two ago, where just because you're winning in one part of life doesn't mean you're winning at life. You have your personal life, your fitness life, your professional life, your family life, your friends' life. There are so many, your self-improvement life. There are so many quadrants in life to learn and improve yourself and challenge yourself. I'm just really grateful that you brought that up, because a lot of people think money is everything, and though it's not. People that have that, where they've super hyper focused on money, you could tell that they don't have the other quadrants of their life, in many cases, at least in my experience, satisfied. And for me, I try to learn from other people, learn from the mistakes I see, whether it's my mistakes or other people's mistakes, and constantly improve. Sheff, thank you so much for taking the time to come on here, putting yourself in the room as a security guard to make those network connections. You never know where it's going to happen. For me, that motto is it only takes one incident, one conversation, one networking event, one meeting, you name it, one opportunity that could change your life at any given moment. Where can we find more about you online, your company, All Things Sheff?
I'm on Instagram. I'm Sheff's Cooking. SHEFFSC00KIN. Please, if you guys are interested at all with not only just hearing more about me, but if you want me to help you and help you get to where you want to be at, right? Like, just hit me up. I've been blessed enough where I've been able to go through everything where I ended up not only being the top 1%, but the top 1% of the 1%, man. Like, there's not many lessons. There's a lot of lessons that I've learned and a lot of wisdom that I've been able to experience and gain from the people around me that have been able to help me get to a point where I'm at right now. And don't be shy. I love meeting new people. I love talking to new people, and most importantly, I just want to be somebody that's going to help you in your journey to wherever you want to be at. Real quick, if you're interested at all in any type of financial services, let me know. If you're interested in personal training in the next coming months, I'm going to be going into almost full-time online training, so I can be there for you every step of the way. And that's my goal, and that's what I want to strive for. Don't be hesitant. Just go ahead and hit me up any single time.
I got that right here for financial services, personal training. Be sure to reach out to him. He's on IG at Sheff's Cooking with 2 zeros in the middle. And I am at Vincent A. Lancey on all social media. Be sure to head to my YouTube channel at Vincent A. Lancey for a video preview of the show. The show is at That Entrepreneur Show on all platforms except Instagram, where I just use the Vincent A. Lancey page now. But until next week, we are signing off. 2 of us here in Tampa. Thanks again for stopping by, Sheff.
No problem. Have a great day, y'all.
You too.